chug some beers and make some bad gambling picks. Welcome to ChuggieBets.
A minute. I know this is the worst way to start a podcast talking about Iowa football because no one wants to talk about Iowa football, but we really need to recap what happened in Iowa versus Purdue. Iowa won the game 20-14. Al will go into the ramifications of that score in a minute, but I want to talk about Deacon Hill. Deacon Hill got thrown in there because Cade McNamara got hurt. Deacon Hill was a four-star quarterback. He was relatively highly regarded, transferred from Wisconsin. He went to Iowa, right? Deacon Hill won a football game going 6 of 21 for 110 yards passing. All five of the 6 receptions was from Eric All, their tight end. The other one was to a running back on a screen play. They threw the ball 7 times to wide receivers, got 0 completions. That team, no one. If you're watching Iowa football, I love college football, but if you're watching Iowa football, there's got to be a different game on. Unless you're from the state of Iowa, what the hell are you doing? I don't know if anyone else watched this game, but
the only way a game like that is watchable is if you have a view of a cornfield as like the competition, like that. You're either staring at a field of corn or you're watching Iowa football. And like you got a bag of like a Ziploc bag of chili in your pants that you smuggled in.
Boiled peanuts.
A thermos full of beef broth.
Al, you just like described the state of Iowa, so that is their option.
Oh goodness.
I like watching Iowa. I think it's just kind of like comically fun to watch them.
okay.
Yeah, it's just a different brand. It's like, do you like Saturday Night Live or do you like I Think You Should Leave? Or do you know, it's like just it's the same thing technically, but it's not the same thing at all, you know?
No, it's like you could choose those two, or you could watch your shoe that's in the closet and just stare at that shoe.
I think both of those are a perfect way to describe Iowa's offense because you get a couple of really good plays in there, but it's a lot of misses.
See, what's funny, Danny, is I was going to throw in another comparison because you said they're both the same. And I was going to say it's like a clown show, like a clown comedy. But then you mentioned, I don't know, I just feel like a clown show is more apt for the Iowa football offense.
Yes,
but,
I agree with you.
Yeah, let me just sum up where they stand. So the race to 325 points, that is the make or break for Brian Ferentz to keep his job. The caveat being that if they make a bowl game, which they should, that's an added opportunity to have them get to where they need to be, which honestly would be super fun if they need like 40 points in their bowl game and they get put against like Ohio, you know, and like they just have to like air it out to try and save Ferentz's job. It would be fantastic. Where they currently stand, and this is despite a goose egg against Penn State, they have 131 points through 6 games, which is, I think, a 21-point average, something like that, 22. So including a bowl game, they would have to average about 27.5 points per game from here on out. Without that bowl game, it's like 32 and change per game. So it's actually closer, still more attainable than I thought it would be, especially given the 0 they put up against Penn State. But it's going to get hairy. It's going to be tight. That's for sure.
They're going to need to make the most of Northwestern, Rutgers, and cover your ears, Andy. Illinois. That 3-game stretch is going to be a really important one.
They're lucky that Illinois' defense sucks this year. They're lucky that Illinois' defense sucks this year.
They're going to win the Big Ten West, right? Iowa's going to end up winning the Big Ten West. And I wonder if those 25
Who's coming after them? Minnesota?
Wisconsin, I would guess.
Wisconsin is on the top currently.
This game this weekend?
It's a 2-horse race, Iowa and Wisconsin, which makes this game actually more relevant because they're playing at Wisconsin this weekend.
I may put one of the boxes in my quad box on that. Maybe if there's nothing better on. But hey, my name's Matt. That's Andy. That's Al. That's Danny. We're ChuggieBets, and we're gonna drink some beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Miller Lite in the bottle.
Leftover tailgate beer. Thanks,
Oh,
Ryan.
Pacifico is a good one, though.
Thanks, Ryan.
On the pantheon of Mexican beers, I think that's my favorite. That's a good one. I really like Pacifico. It really hits.
Yeah.
Not important.
It feels like a generic beer, like the most generic beer, you know?
I kind of like it because it's a generic drinking beer, right? Like Corona has a weird flavor. It doesn't really do it for me. And if you have to add fruit to it, it's probably not a good beer. It's kind of like my rule
Blue
of
Moon's
thumb.
fine.
It's
You
like-
add fruit to it, it's better.
Pacifico is like if you watched a show on Amazon Prime and instead of them going to a bar and saying, I'll have a beer, like they said, I'll have a Pacifico, like to avoid using a brand, but it sounds like a made up brand, you know? That's what it sounds like.
I like
It
that.
sounds like you're saying cerveza. Like
Yeah.
you're saying beer in Mexican.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I want
I
to play a
guess.
game, guys. Will you guys play this game with me? I came up with
The
this.
logo
It's
kind
gonna
of looks like that too, by the way. It's just a.
Yeah.
it's kind of
All
a
right, let's
dumb
play the game,
game.
buddy. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I think I'm lagging here.
No, it's okay. It's going to be probably a dumb game. It probably won't work, but I want this to be like a church, right? I'm going to say a random football comment, and you could say either amen, that means you support me, or hey man, and then you could fight me on that. I'm open for the fight, but I'm just going to kind of whip it around some college football topics. We'll talk a lot of college football, and then we need to do a therapy session for what happened here, and we're going to talk about a transitive property football from Bowling Green.
Oh God.
but-
Amen or hey man. Bring it.
Amen if you support me, or hey man if you don't. I think Michigan is clearly the top team in the country. Michigan is just blowing people out early and often, and it's not even close. Georgia showed fight this week, and their offense looks good, but I don't think they're going to be able to do anything against that Michigan defense. Amen or hey man?
Amen.
Hey man.
Okay.
I don't think I'm not with it. Michigan's good, but I don't know. I don't see the urgency. They're sort of in the same boat as Georgia. They are a team that I feel like can be beat once they face a team that is actually good. I'm gonna throw a sneaky team in here just because this is one that's climbing up the polls. Nobody's hotter right now than the Oklahoma Sooners.
I like Oklahoma.
Have a little consideration there.
Michigan's
just
defense is as good as Georgia's defense of 2 years ago, I think. Except they did finally give up more than 7 points in a game to Minnesota, which that was really weak, giving up 10.
To go around what Michigan's given up this year, they've given up 7, 6, 7, 7, and 10. So to Danny's point, that defense is dominant, and they kill you early, and then they just play football. They're just kind of like let the clock run out because they're up by so many points in the first half.
Yeah.
Where Georgia's had some unimpressive starts, and Oklahoma's played really well, but that game against SMU and Cincinnati, it was closer than I expected, and I think they can be really good. I really like this Oklahoma team.
It took a 54-yard field goal and a 35-yard touchdown pass to get those scores. All right, those were fluke plays.
I think Georgia and Michigan are yin and yang. Like they both only play a half. Just one plays the first half and the other plays the second half.
Okay.
So I don't know, like which one's better?
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Alex. Except if you're going with that, you have to say Michigan not playing the second half is better because they do that by choice, right?
True.
Georgia not playing the first half is an accident. Like they're trying to play the first half, they just can't for some reason.
Couldn't agree with you more, Andy.
But I'm gonna go with Heyman as well, even though it goes against what I just said. I still think Georgia. I have them rated higher on both offense and defense than Michigan. And then last year they almost lost to Kent State, and then they won the championship. So, until I see something different than that on the field, I'm sticking with Georgia.
Your ratings are weighted too much to last year if you're rating Georgia higher than Michigan on defense this year.
It's possible.
Yeah, like I don't think it's close. Georgia looked good this weekend, and Carson Beck may be a great quarterback. He looked awesome. If that's what they're going to get, I know they're not going to be the dominant defense that they've been for a couple years, but they're still going to be really good. If they have that offensive prowess where they're more versatile that way, it'll be fun to watch. But their running game stinks right now too. Like Michigan just looks so complete.
Andy,
All right.
Georgia gave up.
Sorry,
Georgia gave
sorry.
up 21 to UAB, 20 to Auburn, 13 to Kentucky, 14 to South Carolina. They haven't kept anybody under 10 points.
Yeah, they probably had twos in
To
for
compare
a good
those two,
portion
it's
of those.
ridiculous.
But Andy, are you drinking? Did Mountain Dew come out with a Code Red beer?
No, it's my hologram LLA
Oh, okay.
cup.
Sorry, it's orange, not red.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Well, that's all right.
Respect.
Before I go to the second question, I should probably recap last week, right? I messed up in the order of operations here, but let's talk about how we performed last week. Sunshine was 1 game under 500. I have even Steven. I'm just living it on even Steven for the year, right at 31-31-1 for the year. So just a waste of vig.
5-5, both of the last 2 weeks, Matto.
Just staying right. Dano, 5-3, a 2-game win, and one
It's
is
my first positive week of the year.
And your first chuggy bet.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So Danny gets a chuggy bet.
Amen.
Andy, oh no, Al, 12-8. Kudos. 4 games over. Nicely done. I don't think you got your chuggy bet though. And no. Andy, a killer week. Did not get his chuggy bet, but he's 8 games over 500 at 10-2. I will grant Andy an additional chuggy bet for such an awesome performance. Let's get back to 8. Oh, so that's a 46-23 week if you guys are keeping score at home. If you weren't betting with us, you're a dum-dum. You're a lot poorer now. You would have been.
Yeah, it's a good week.
That's a really good week.
Yeah, shoot, that is good.
Amen or hey, man. North Carolina is better than USC. Look, North Carolina and USC have comparable quarterbacks, right? They'll probably be first and second in the draft. And I understand that Caleb Williams is awesome. That aside, North Carolina has a better resume. They look better on defense. USC is a disaster on defense. They cannot beat anyone. They're going close to Arizona State, who's really bad. Arizona put up a fight and took double, triple overtime in order to polish off the Wildcats without Delora. I think it's not even close. I think UNC is the better team. And USC is the rare team to win 3 weeks in a row and drop in the polls 3 straight times. Amen or hey, man, to North Carolina being better.
Amen. I agree with you. I think USC is probably still better on offense, but they're not as well rounded, which is crazy after watching North Carolina's defense last year. But their defense is significantly better this year, and they're significantly better than USC's defense. So, as a total package, I'm gonna have to say yes.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like anyone could go either way on this, but I'll be the contrarian here. I'll say, hey, man, I don't think so. I'm not buying it. You've got a soon-to-be, potentially 2-time Heisman Trophy winner against a guy who might be a Heisman, might be a finalist, but he's not going to win it. To Andy's point, UNC's defense is probably a good bit better than USC's, but I don't know. I mean, you take the best player in college football.
Better.
I don't know. I don't know the stats.
Like we're saying, UNC's defense is a good bit better than anybody's defense.
Yeah.
Come on. All right. I'm gonna say, hey, man, but not because I think that UNC is better. I don't think UNC neither team is better. These are the same fucking team. They're just the same. They both have an incredibly good quarterback. They both are really good on offense and terrible on defense. They both have a really good coach who coached somewhere else before and then came there. They're the same. They're the fucking same. Draw. You bet draw.
I don't know what man something like that is like in between.
No, hey man, because I disagree with them being better.
Okay, hey man, fair enough. This one will get you going, and you guys are gonna all hey man me, but I'm gonna try it anyways. Jayden Daniels should be the runner-up in the Heisman. Now, listen to me here. LSU is a catastrophe on defense. They're giving 40 to 50 points a game, but that's not Jayden Daniels' fault. He's the only thing keeping that engine running. His stats this year are awesome. 2,000 yards passing in 5 games, so 400 yards a game. He's also completing 73% of his passes, 19 touchdowns to 2 picks, in addition to the 422 yards he's putting up on the ground and 4 touchdowns, right? If LSU had any semblance of defense, they would have only lost maybe one game to Florida State. And who knows, that game may have gone a different way if their momentum was in a different direction. Outside of Caleb Williams, he is the second best college player as far as stats. I understand that team wins matter, but I think Jayden Daniels has been super impressive on a team that needs him to be awesome in order to win anything, including a Missouri game that they should have lost. Amen or hey man?
I think again I'm going to say hey man here, and it's hey man. So it's a cheap caveat here, but the fact that you're saying he's going to be a Heisman runner-up means that the wins do matter. I think Carson Beck has a good argument to be, better than Jayden Daniels. I think who's Michigan still got that running back, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
Well, is Corum still there?
I don't know. There's got to be someone else. Michael Penix.
So I just pulled up the odds.
Yes. Okay. I'm saying amen, but only because I think he's going to be the runner-up to Michael Penix.
Okay, that's fine.
Wow.
I said I don't think he can win because he's not playing for a winning team. Like they're not going to be 10-2 or 11-1, right? It's going to be much.
What's their record?
There are 4-2, 3-2, 4-2. So I'm sorry, I may have said he may be averaging only 350 yards a passing game, but he's been ridiculously good.
The best, man.
Yeah.
So just real quick, the people that have lower odds than him right now, and I just pulled up a random book here, but he's 30-1. Then we've got Drake May at 18-1. Jordan Travis at 16-1.
He's not going to get there either.
Not getting there. Not even.
Bo Nix at 6-1.
Okay.
Caleb Williams at 2.25, and Michael Penix at 2-1.
I don't think Bo Nix is going to get there either, but it's possible.
Yeah, Bo Nix, that's actually really good. You know, another good name to have thrown in there would have been, 2 weeks ago, Riley Leonard.
He was great. I don't think Duke has enough, but I love that.
I don't think he had the numbers to do it, but he was playing really well, but I don't think he had the numbers.
I just mean Duke, that's an exciting team with a healthy Riley Leonard. So I hope they can.
The thing is, it's still an exciting team even without Riley Leonard.
Yeah.
Because it's their defense that carries them. And I think whoever the backup is, I mean, Riley Leonard is way better than the backup, right? So it's going to be a huge drop-off, but I think the defense can come in and the running game can keep them in game still.
All right. Fair enough. My final hey man or amen is this, and this one is spicy. Louisville will be in the ACC championship game. Now, look, do I think Louisville is the second best team in the ACC? I do not. But I think Louisville has themselves set up on a great path because their schedule is pretty easy. They get to avoid Clemson, they get to avoid North Carolina, and they get to avoid Florida State this year, right? 3 of the top 4 programs. I keep Miami in that top 4 because we'll talk about that in a minute. But they don't have to play. They play Pitt at Pitt, and that Pitt team
Miami,
is.
But they got to play Duke in Miami. So
Do
you think Miami's going to be in the ACC championship? Because we have to play Florida State, which is a 50-50 game, and Louisville's a 50-50 game. And the rest of our games we should win, but we
and you play Clemson.
Win. I think we should beat Clemson this year. I think we'll be favored in that game.
I have a more fun question here. How many losses does Louisville end up with?
I think they get 1, and I think it may be Kentucky. I don't see them losing another game on the Miami game or Kentucky. Like, pick one of those 2. I think that's one of the losses, and that's it.
They only have 3. First off, it's the fucking ACC. It's the fucking ACC, so they could lose like to Pitt, Virginia, and Virginia Tech, and then win those other 3 games, and then end up with 3 losses because that's just the way this conference goes. But no, I would see. I'm gonna go 2. I'm gonna go 2. I think they lose 2 games, and I don't think one of them is gonna be the Miami game.
I think they could lose 4 games.
Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna be a hater. I'm put my hater hat on. I think this is a huge letdown spot for them going to Pitt against Narduzzi. He's gonna go all out to get the W here.
Narduzzi.
Pitt is really bad.
Pitt's gonna get 4 possessions in this game, 1 per quarter.
4 first downs in this game.
Listen, would you be that surprised to see LSU or Louisville lose to Pitt this week?
No, I wouldn't. This Pitt team,
I'd be
yes.
a little bit, but like not that.
To this Pitt team, I would be surprised, but
And then if Riley Leonard is back for that next matchup at the end of October, which I don't know, that's a big if, but if he is, I think Duke can beat Louisville there. Miami in Miami, and then Kentucky is really good. So I think those are four games that they could legitimately lose.
Louisville's not really good either.
I mean, obviously Pitt's the longest shot. But
so
you're saying there's 4 losable games instead of 3, but like that doesn't mean they're going to lose all 4. It's just that there's 4 losable games.
So my thought here is this: Florida State. I put their ceiling on. My expectation was getting to the ACC championship game, not getting to the playoffs. I just thought that was unrealistic going into the year. We had some problems. The only prohibitive thing to that happening is if Louisville fucks around and ends up undefeated in the ACC, because Miami, Florida State have to play each other. Miami has to play North Carolina. There's 3 other teams that could be competitive, and we don't need Louisville sniffing around with their shitty team trying to get involved in this mess, right? There are 3 teams that should have it. And Miami did a great disservice to themselves losing to Georgia Tech, right? So they really only need to lose one.
It's going to knock us out of the ACC championship, which is kind of a good thing for this year, because we don't belong playing with any of the big boys in the playoff, or really in the ACC championship game, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Florida State's going to show us what the big boys look like in a couple of weeks. So
we'll see.
I was saying today, I was like, Miami's ceiling going into this year, I had it at losing the ACC championship. Like that was the ceiling. So like I didn't have like delusional high hopes here. Like that's a high expectation, but like that's like the max.
You can still meet my happiness.
I still think that's like theoretic,
which is 9 wins.
I think that's still like theoretically possible.
9 wins is great.
But like,
yeah, I'm looking for 9 wins.
So
after that shit show, I think essentially my ceiling has not moved. So
I'm gonna let.
Fuck you, Mario Cristobal. I'm not actually mad.
Okay, we'll go into that in a deep dive in a second. I want to hear Andy's non-ACC opinion here, as far as not being a fan of the ACC or not being involved in the ACC.
I'm gonna say amen, mostly because I think that would be a lot of fun.
It would be.
And I mean, I don't know. I kind of feel, and this might be strange, but I kind of feel like we'll have a better idea after we see Notre Dame play this week. Because if Notre Dame is just bad, then that win doesn't mean nearly as much. But if, Notre Dame was just a hiccup, I don't know. Louisville's fun to watch.
They are fun.
So, yeah, I think it'd be great if they end up in the ACC championship. So, amen.
Amen. Yeah, it's curious.
They're fun to watch at home, man. That crowd was nasty.
They have the toughest crowd in the ACC. Them and Clemson have the tough, and Virginia Tech can too. Those are like
Clemson's
3
really
special
Clemson's
crowds in the ACC. But Louisville, when they're drunk at night, or I always thought Louisville at noon is a special crowd if it's a big game, because they're so drunk and loud, and it's like always rowdy, and it's way too rowdy
before basketball season starts.
Florida State's lost so many bad games to Louisville where we just got overwhelmed by the crowd.
If you recall, their basketball team was so bad last year. So bad. So they're just looking for anything to be happy about right now.
Oh, yeah. They need it. That was the worst team I've ever seen in the ACC. That team sucked.
Yeah, that was the worst Louisville team I think we've watched in our lifetime. It could be.
All right. Well, that was Amen. Hey, man. I hope you guys enjoyed that game. Let's get to some picks. What do you say, boys?
That was fantastic. Thank you, man.
Let's go Thursday. There's a couple games early. Liberty's living, and Middle Tennessee and Jacksonville State have all lived in this Thursday slot back-to-back weeks. But
this is
wrong T day.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Oh, shoot.
Tomorrow.
Shoot, it's Tuesday. My bad.
48 straight days of football.
Yeah.
It's nothing but football this week. Let's go to Tuesday, 7:30. A battle for the Carolinas. We got Appalachia in the western side going to the coast. What are we doing here? Oh, I guess, sorry. Sunshine is laying 6 points with App State against Coastal Carolina. I don't really have an idea of what to do with this game, so I will trust him on that. Wednesday, we got Conference USA action. Everybody loves Wednesday CUSA. You got UTEP going to Miami to face Florida International University. Andy, what are we doing here?
I'm taking UTEP. It was a pick when I looked at it earlier. UTEP's not great, but FIU is bad. So UTEP as a pick. Let's get some Wednesday action. Start off
Wednesday
early.
action. Yeah. Next game is Sam Houston State, New Mexico State. We don't have an official play, but play New Mexico State. I'm going to keep betting against Sam Houston State. I know it burned me last week. That team stinks, though. Officially on Thursday night, we've got what was going to be the big Fire Bowl. West Virginia, Neil Brown, and Houston and Dana Holgorsen were going to face off to see who leaves town this week, and the loser gets fired. Unfortunately, Neil Brown's done really well at fortunately, Neil Brown's done very well at West Virginia, and he's 4-1. But Houston ain't been good. Dana Holgorsen's got to fight for his job. Al, what are you doing this week?
Yeah, I'm laying 2.5 with West Virginia. That's it.
I'm doing the same, and I think I'll bet the Chuggie. Dana Holgorsen gets fired next week. Got to win this game. He's not going to win this game. He's not going to cover this game. Let's go West Virginia. 2.5.
You got to be able to parlay that, man.
Oh, I would love to.
West Virginia minus 2.5. Holgorsen fired by Monday. Like
Sunday, you're going to see.
I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet.
Okay. We can do that. We can do that as a side bet. No vig.
What kind of odds you got?
I'll do it 1-to-1 with you.
I love that bet, guys. It's a great.
I actually love Matt's side. if he's giving me even odds, I'm going to take Holgorsen keeps his job until Tuesday morning.
Until Tuesday morning. He's going to get fired on Sunday.
12:01 a.m. Danny knows someone in the Houston Athletic Department.
Historically, I've been very bad at predicting when people get fired, but they get fired eventually.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So, yeah, you got smart money there. Let's go Thursday night. We got another game in, let's say the AAC. That sounds right. SMU going to East Carolina. Andy, what are we doing here?
We're taking East Carolina plus 12. That's just too many points. They're not the better team, but they're getting too many points. East Carolina plus 12.5.
Yeah, I wanted to do that too. I was close, but I was like, I'm going to try and be a little more conservative with my picks this week, but I do like that.
Oh, I was not.
I can tell, Andy.
I missed the pod last week.
You give a pick on every game.
Yeah, I missed the pod last week, and I missed it so much. I had to make up for it. I think I've got 27 picks in college and 40 something overall. So.
It's a lot of picks.
Well, keep us afloat, man. Keep going.
Another AAC game, but now we've moved on to Friday. This is going to be a good game. Tulane is a good team. Memphis has been playing really well this year as well. Memphis is a 3.5-point dog at home. Andy, what are you doing?
I'm taking the points. That's what I always do. Taking the points. 3.5, getting more than the field goal at home. Excuse me. 3.5, yeah.
Let's go Memphis. Fresno State, Utah State. Oh, let's end Friday night with a bang. We've got Stanford going into Boulder, Colorado, where the cameras will be watching Deion Sanders drink a soda and talking about it for 20 minutes, how he drinks that soda and how he's so legendary for drinking that soda so well. Let's see. Danny and Andy have a play on this. What are we doing?
Pretty sure there's no way I get a win in this for my bad team draft, right? I have both of these teams, so I definitely get a win. That sucks. But yeah, I'm going Stanford plus 11.5 because I just think the Colorado hype train's too high, and even though Stanford really sucks, that's a lot of points. I think Colorado wins, but I think that they don't cover that many points.
Yeah, I'm on it too. Stanford plus 12. Everything Danny said.
All right. Yeah, I'll be curious to see how this goes. I wonder if the Colorado vibe is off a little bit, right? I'm curious to see what happens through the end of the year.
I literally didn't even look to see if like Travis Hunter was back or like if like what the injury situation was. I'm just like it's mostly a Colorado vibe. Everybody's hitting them too hard. That's just my thought.
Yeah. All right. So we got one noon game coming up here. We got Ohio State going to Purdue. What are we doing with this one, Andy?
Going over 50. I know Ohio State hasn't been the offensive juggernaut this year that they have in the past. But Purdue gave up points to Iowa last week. If you give up points to Iowa, you're giving up points to Ohio State. Ohio State might get 50 on their own. We're going over 50 in Ohio State, Purdue.
That feels like the right spot. All All right, I think that's going to end it for this episode. Andy has 20,000 more picks, so make sure you get on the next one. And let me remind you, Andy was 10 units up or 8 units up last week. So if you're going to miss out on those, you're a dum-dum. But until next time.
As a whole, the pod was up, I think, 15 units. What was it? 15 or 20 units last week. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, we crushed it. We crushed it. So don't miss the next one. That's where all the money is. This was all
23.
the nonsense. Next one is where the money is. So good night, Joey.
Good night,
Good night, Ken. Oh, we both did, Ken.
I love your units.
Good night, Matt.